It's episode 337. A life without migraines. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prime Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Skip Wyss, and as always, I have the amazing Dr. Julie Wyss with me today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just realizing it's good that we have a bright background because we are both
you are super blacked out today. You look very pretty. You got on you got snakeskin pants on today.
Of course, I always some kind of animal.
Snakeskin. So, Dr. Julie, wonderful boy that we take care of here in the office, name is Tony. Brought up on the podcast board suggestions, and he said, Dr. Skip, it would be great to hear a podcast on migraines and headaches. He came in today with a headache, young boy. He's 14 years old, and he doesn't like getting his headaches. And we need to talk about this because he said it'd be great.
And I think lots of times when you hear the word migraines, I think like my head immediately goes to thinking more adult population, older women or men, you know, maybe positioning or staring at a computer all day. But the number of children and teens that actually deal with severe headaches and migraines, that's what this topic is super important today.
Yeah, because we see it all the time. It basically goes across any age group. I mean, I am sure that there are 4 and 5 year olds that get headaches. They just don't know how to tell you. Or you assume as a parent because you get migraines, it's your kid just mimicking you and saying, well, if mommy has a headache, so does Jimmy. Or if daddy has a headache, so does Veronica. You know, like they obviously mirror us. But that's not the case. Usually when they're complaining to you about migraine headaches and not feeling the best, they're suffering from them themselves. And they don't know how to tell you except for my head hurts. And most parents, we're all guilty of this. We'll tell our kid to go lay down, drink some water, and just we kind of tell them to deal with it.
Right. And so I think that's where sometimes like, yeah, we think the child is trying to mimic what we're doing or they're looking for attention. I think lots of times, you know, and that's where are we being selfish as a parent in saying those things.
Yeah.
And I think that's where if this is a reoccurring thing that your child is constantly complaining about, it's probably something a little bit more than just wanting your attention.
Yeah, it is. And they've had it for probably a few years. It's not just the first one that's popped up. You've heard your kid complain about headaches or migraines for a while. And then after a little bit, what happens is all parents, we start to think, maybe there's something more going on here. Something's up. So I'll turn around and I'll talk to their primary care provider. And generally that primary care provider is not a chiropractor. And it's usually somebody that's been taking care of them their whole life since birth. And the only thing that they'll prescribe is ibuprofen, maybe tell them to drink more water, possibly see a physical therapist if there are any sort of abnormalities in posture, when really they need their nervous systems checked. Right. 100% of the time. It has to happen because headaches and migraines are completely debilitating. Being someone that had them in high school where I would get black spots, I would lose my vision, I would have to get driven to my chiropractor's office. And in fact, my senior year, my chiropractor wrote me basically a stack of papers to get out of school whenever I wanted so I could turn that in when I had a headache instead of trying to always call home, get out, that kind of thing, and just go over and get my spine checked and get adjusted. And that was the only remedy that was out there because it actually worked. And I wasn't taking ibuprofen. I wasn't taking things to help my headache out. I was seeing a chiropractor to make sure that my spine was where it needed to be, to make sure my nervous system was working how it was supposed to. And that made the absolute biggest difference in the world, was seeing that. And that didn't change my life. Like, that didn't make me want to become a chiropractor. That's my whole knee story. But even in high school, it was there. And my mom knew it was something more. And it was my upper neck.
And I think that's like in this day and age when there's so many resources, I think sometimes the simplest solution to a problem is quickly overlooked. And chiropractic in its simplest form is what allows the body to process and do exactly what it's designed and programmed to do. And that headache is that little blimp of the computer, the brain, not functioning how it's supposed to. And that's where, like, if we can get away from the pain-based model of just using chiropractic for back pain, like, this can be the solution for so many things.
Yeah, and I think that there's some things that moms are going to wonder, and dads, like, so how do I help my kids with this? What do I do for myself? And if we're going to steer away from medicine, because this is not a medical-based show, we don't give medical advice on here, but we do give healthcare advice because we're trained professionals, we're doctors of chiropractic. And the first natural remedy that you would want to go towards is, of course, chiropractic. We need to get your nervous systems checked. Your nervous system is what runs everything. Everybody will tell you, besides chiropractors, that they think it's your muscles, that your neck is too tight, you need a massage, you need to see a physical therapist. Well, guess what? Your nervous system runs those muscles. They run the postural muscles of your body. It doesn't matter if we strengthen it, weaken it, put some ultrasound on it, heat it up, cool it off, vibrate it out. It doesn't matter. Those muscles are trying to protect an imbalanced nervous system. And it's a protective mechanism of your body. Consider your muscles like armor. They are armor. They are designed to protect your body and give you strength and move you around. But they are not designed to keep your posture. Your nervous system keeps your posture, and it comes back to your eye posture. It comes back to a vestibular ocular reflex, getting a little neuro on you, when you were a baby and how you developed when you were crawling. That's what drives your posture. And then everything thereafter, if you don't have proper communication, is a full compensation the rest of your life. So if you're just trying to treat the compensation, which is treat bad posture or get it stretched out, physioed out, I don't care what it is, you're not actually helping the problem. You're just treating the symptom.
And then it turns into the headache.
Yep. And the number one symptom is headaches. And it's low back pain, but headaches is what we're talking about today because they're debilitating. So get your nervous systems checked. Make sure, even if you're an adult and you've been dealing with headaches your whole life, don't worry, they're just my monthly headaches. We hear that a lot. Or the question is well, we'll have them check it off. Like they'll check off, I get headaches. Well, how often? What does that mean? Because that's a broad term. I get migraines. Well, how often? Why are you checking that off? Obviously, if you get them, they're happening. If they're happening enough to let me know, right?
It's concerning.
Yeah, if I annoyed you enough, you would tell me. I'm your husband.
Right. But I think unfortunately so many people think that just because things are so common or they have it happening all the time, that becomes their norm. And I think the biggest thing is if people can like realize that they can live without headaches, without a daily headache, like that could be life-changing for that person.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why we do this podcast, right? Just to, again, disseminate information for people to start to think differently. But I can guarantee there's somebody that you know that has debilitating headaches or suffers from migraines at least once a week. And for them to know that, hey, chiropractic can definitely help this, it's going to change that person's life.
Absolutely. And they will thank you for it. And you will look like the genius making the referral, not the doctor.
Right.
Because most patients think that chiropractic is counter-transferable and then it's all the same, which is 100% not. And you need to get to the good doctor to make it happen. And you're right. So now we know that chiropractic is a major solution to help for migraine headaches. Incredible solution. In fact, there's a book wrote by Dr. Grant Dennis called A Life Without Migraines. So here's an homage to Dr. Grant, a very close friend of ours. He wrote the damn book, and it's a good book. And it's all about upper neck chiropractic care. And it's an excellent book. Let's talk about supplements and hydration. Because typically we will hear parents as well, and kids, and adults come in and say, well, I drank some water and my headache went away. Awesome. Like hydration, major key point, right? So go ahead.
Yeah. So many times that can be that first, like if or when we become dehydrated, that headache will start. But there's so much, it's so intricate that there's so much more. It wasn't the dehydration that caused the headache. The headache had kind of been there. It was lingering. But now because we're dehydrated, that headache has come to the forefront.
Tightens the muscles up.
So again, hydration, yes, if you're suffering from that headache, that migraine, yes, let's double check and see what your hydration is, what it looks like. If you're getting the headache on, say, today, Monday, that doesn't mean that you're looking at just your hydration from today. Right? We need to look at the last 2 days, because chances are a lot of times we don't realize that we're dehydrated until it's too late. And it's not usually like a sudden, like that, like you're extremely thirsty, right? It's sometimes that you don't think about it, right? You've been dehydrated. It's been, the weather's been so hot. It's usually 2 days later that you realize, oh gosh, maybe I haven't drank enough water.
Yep.
And now after these 2 days, then that headache is what's creeping in.
It is. You're right. And then most of the times they'll say that their eyes feel pasty,
Itchy.
or itchy, dry. Like that's a big thing, is my eyes are always dry. Well, you're dehydrated. That's a sign of that. Yes, there could be a hormone imbalance. You could have a fish oil issue. Like there's a few other things, but dehydration leads to dryness everywhere.
I mean,
right?
sometimes the simplest thing could be like, if we were talking that your child is having these issues, like when you go to the bathroom, does the urine, is it have an extreme odor? Is like diaper changing time, is that odor like really strong, foul smelling? Is the color, like if you're seeing it in the toilet, if it's a brighter color, like then we know, okay, there's a good chance that yes, we're dealing with dehydration.
And you know, our last podcast episode was all about hydration in kids, and so go back and listen to it, learn about it, and understand that, you know, even understand what it is for proper hydration. It's, you have to drink 1 ounce of water for every pound of body weight, pretty much, especially in the summer.
Especially kids.
You got to get that in you, okay? And then the maintenance is half your body weight in 1 ounce of water for every pound. So easy conversion. Now, magnesium, another thing. Magnesium is massively important to help with the body, to help with muscles to calm down, smooth themselves out. Again, you're treating the muscle, but over short term, it'll help. And long term, if you're taking magnesium, we need to find out where you're deficient in your magnesium in your diet, so you don't have to constantly have to supplement it.
Right. And that's where I always try to think about, like, everybody is familiar with calcium, build strong bones. Calcium is what makes everything tight and constrict. We need the magnesium to relax. And this is also why it's really good when we have GI issues, constipation, sleep, to relax. And again, this is one of those things, it's like in the short term, like super quick, that headache is coming on. Yes, magnesium, the water is going to help delay those symptoms of the headache, but the headache is still the problem. And so we have to go back to chiropractic to solve that problem. But like magnesium is one of those things that can solve so many problems.
Well, you will hear people say this, nutritionists, chiropractors, all of them. The major loss deficit mineral in the body or vitamin is magnesium. Well, here's why. I'm going to go straight self-phys and biology. Is that okay? So in the body, you can look it up. It's called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, ATP. ATP is the main energy source for your body. It's what all of your mitochondria run off of, which is the power cells of your body. Your mitochondria needs the manganese to run, but guess what? Your ATP is the major power source. And in order for your body to use ATP, it needs to be broken off into ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and a phosphate. When that happens, there is a major rate limiting step that actually causes this chemical reaction to cleave, and that is magnesium. Magnesium is needed to break the bonds to get the phosphate out so your body can use the energy. This is done during the Krebs cycle. It is done during glycolysis. It is done during any oxygen or aerobic-based cycle in your body. It's what has to happen. Now, the reason why it's so important is because you can't function without it. And the other thing is that when your muscles contract, you have an actin and a myosin filament. Now I'm going this way too. And what happens is there's these two little feet. And when they contract and they grab the cells of your muscles, and they go cell to cell, and they'll grab and pull these muscle fibers, and then they stay contracted. And in order to let the actin and myosin filament let go to grab the next muscle fiber and pull, you need ATP and you need magnesium to cleave the bond so your body can let those go and contract as well. There. Now you know that we're kind of smart in what we talk about. But the biggest miss is magnesium. and it needs to be there. Where do we get magnesium? Magnesium is a water-soluble vitamin. Water-soluble vitamin. So where is it coming from?
Your green leafy vegetables.
Exactly. Green leafy veggies.
Favorites.
Exactly.
Spinach, collard greens, cabbage.
Well, cauliflower a little bit, but like broccoli. Everybody loves broccoli, kind of. All of your bitter tasting greens,
Swiss chard is super
full
high.
of magnesium, and you 100% need it. And if you're eating this and you're still deficient, you're probably not eating organic. You're not getting it grown in a garden because the minerals are depleted out of the soil. You've heard Julie and I talk about this ad nauseum at times, but it's so important to have that coupled with your chiropractic care and really good hydration. The next thing people are going to ask about is your iron levels as well. And this is something that's really interesting because iron does play a role in good, healthy muscle tissue because it has to do with blood and oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. But again, that helps heal the areas. So your iron, you need to check your T3, T4, and your ferritin levels, which is your iron storage levels, to see what those levels are at. If you're low, you're probably low on copper as well.
And that I would say, like, this is like if you're constantly like tired and fatigued, and I like when we look at the regular numbers to have enough iron in your body, I feel like those are already subclinical levels.
Yeah.
And this isn't something like, this isn't a new phenomenon, but I feel like more and more women, especially with how the world has transitioned and everything that we've gone through, more and more women are actually iron deficient and it's not being tested for. And so this is one of those things, again, like that low iron, once you start to boost that, you'll notice, gosh, I have so much more energy. But then you'll notice that when you had that inkling of a headache, that starts to go away.
Exactly. And that, exactly. So you're seeing all of these things play into it. And it's so much more than just taking a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory to knock your migraine down. And the last one that I find really interesting is patients will come in, they'll say, I had a migraine, then I went over to McDonald's and got myself a Coke, and the migraine went away.
That's the same thing like, oh, I'm kind of achy and stiff, or my fingers hurt, and you crack your knuckles and you get that endorphin release.
Yep.
That's the same thing of what the soda, the caffeine
And what gives you that is the caffeine.
Yeah.
Exactly. And caffeine is a vasodilator, but the problem with it is that caffeine's a diuretic. So it's going to dehydrate your bone, dehydrate your bones. It happens. But dehydrate your muscle, dehydrate your body. Again, so you need to consume more water. You need electrolytes in the water. We talked about that in the hydration episode.
Yeah. It's a short-term, quick solution, right? So if you feel that migraine coming on, right, like there's no judgment. We understand why you're choosing that Coke to be able to get that shot, in there with the caffeine, but understand that's just the Band-Aid. We still need to get to the root cause of what that headache is, and that's that instability, that brain not communicating with the body.
And when you're putting those other things in, like Coke, you're putting in a lot of different chemicals as well. And all of that has a negative connotation with your body. It starts kicking its butt. And then lastly, we need to look at our fat-soluble vitamin as well. The one vitamin that is incredibly crucial for our body that we actually create with sunlight and put in with fats is vitamin D. And vitamin D is essential for our body, and we should be consuming between 5,000 and 10,000 IUs a day of vitamin D. It needs to be in liquid form. It needs to be in a fat carrier. Like, these are simple things that are out there that we can put in. You don't need it in a gummy. Gummies aren't going to do anything for you. There's actually more sugar in gummies than there are in the fruit that you can eat. It's crazy, but people would rather put that in, and just because it's
simple.
Yeah, and just because it's in like organic cane sugar or something like that doesn't mean that it's less sugar going into your body. But vitamin D is super important as well.
And I think the caveat is, like, not everything is created ill, just like every chiropractor isn't created equal. That vitamin D needs to be taken first thing, in the morning.
In the morning, empty stomach.
So you're supplementing, but then you're also, that sunlight is still super important to allow. We just talked about the ATP, ADP, the Krebs cycle, all of those things. Like, the sun controls that. And so we still need to get the vitamin D naturally from being outside.
We got a little science in this one. It's fun. Every now and then we put on that science hat, and we're actually, know science a little bit better than Bill Nye. So we do a pretty good job with that. Anything else today, Dr. Julie, to talk
No,
about migraines?
I just, if this gave you a headache, then we need to
Mm-hmm.
chat. But you know, again, this information, just disseminate it, get it out to others, let people
Mm-hmm.
know that, okay, if you're doing the caffeine, if you're, you know, you're increasing your hydration and you're still struggling with those headaches, that there are people that can help. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're here for.
Thanks, Jewel. I love you so much. You're the best wife in the world and one of the best business partners there is. So, again, amazing chiropractor. Everybody, if this resonates, let us know. Go out there, have a wonderful week. Bye, everyone.